This episode is about my climbing journey. If you are new to this channel, I am AE and I make videos about wall climbing. Now I am very excited for this episode. As my channel name suggests, I love climbing very much. It is my first and only sport. I mentioned in my previous vlogs that I've been climbing for 3 years. Now in this video, you will see a documentation of my different climbing highlights across those years, ranging from climbing competitions, outdoor rock climbing experiences, and gym hopping in the different countries which I traveled to. Now I won't focus on details such as how much weight I lost because of climbing or how my body changed because of the sport, but instead, I want to share stories of how climbing has built my confidence. So let's begin. So growing up, I had no sport. I would consider myself to be a nerd. The first physical activity which I committed to doing regularly was biking, which I started after college. So I first experienced wall climbing at Up Tandang Sora. This was in January 30, 2018. I was 26 years old back then, so it's never too late. I was already in my mid-20s back then, but looking back now, I made the right decision of committing to this sport and just enjoying it a lot. I had some org mates back in college who were regular members at the gym, and during that time, I had no upper body strength. I couldn't even do a single pull-up. I was afraid of heights, and I remember my whole body just shaking after trying a wall with a slight overhang. However, I couldn't also forget the feeling of just solving the problem or even just getting to the top of the wall. Apart from that, the climbing community was very supportive even though I was just starting out. In May of 2018, I went to New York for 2 weeks. I bought my first climbing gear at a gym in New York. I bought my first pair of climbing shoes, my first harness, and my first chalk bag, which I use until today. So yeah, I still use this, but of course, I haven't used my harness for a long time because I haven't been climbing at the gym. So I bought this at the Cliffs in Long Island City. So it was my first visit to a climbing gym abroad. So the facilities were just so modern. There were a lot of climbing routes in the gym which you could try out. It was also my first experience of the auto belay system at that gym. My trip to New York was also memorable because it was my first time to see an outdoor boulder at Central Park. Back then, I wasn't into bouldering yet. In September of 2018, I joined my very first climbing competition. The name of the competition was Young, Wild and Free. So there was one event per gym. It means there could be a top rope competition at one gym and there could be a bouldering competition at another gym. So it was my first time to meet climbers from other gyms. Back then, I joined all 4 events. Unfortunately, I did not place in any of these events. Now I think losing was a blessing in disguise because I realized back then that climbing was not just about being physically strong. I wanted to improve my technique, especially my footwork. I wanted to enhance my problem-solving skills, and I wanted to gain more experience in other climbing gyms. So I decided to visit other gyms. In particular, I went to Climb Central Manila. There, I met my coach, John Deloria. He is a member of the Philippine National Climbing Team, and I started training regularly with him at CCM. The training definitely paid off. I saw how my technique improved as well as my problem-solving skills, which I will explain in the latter part of this video. But of course, there is still a lot to improve. So in November 2018, I experienced my first outdoor rock climbing trip in Atimonan, Quezon. Now, climbing outdoors is a different environment from climbing indoors at the gym. Everything was new to me, and I remembered having a very difficult time because I couldn't figure out which parts of the rocks should I hold or step on. It was also during that trip that my fear of heights came back because of a particular climbing route called the Blade Runner. I still had a good time because I was able to climb several routes and we had good company back then. During that same month, I went back to Atimonan with a different climbing group, and overall it was also a great experience. In January of 2019, I went to Singapore for a week. It was my first time to do gym hopping and try as many bouldering gyms as I could. So I went to various gyms such as the Boulder World, on-site climbing gym, Boulder Plus, and Boulder Movement. The facilities were great and the people were really nice and helpful. Now, I realized during that trip that I really loved indoor bouldering. So I love to travel from one gym to another and just solve different kinds of problems. In February 2019, I went to Ambongdolan, Benguet for my very first outdoor bouldering trip. This is a place up north in the Philippines. We stayed in Baguio for 2.5 days. The place is considered a paradise for those who love outdoor bouldering. I think 3 days is not enough if you want to explore all the different rocks in the area. The weather was great and I had good company also back then. It was definitely one for the books and I would love to go back once the pandemic is over. In March 2019, I joined a team bouldering competition in Climb Central, Manila. This fun competition was called the Intergalactic Bouldering Competition. It was organized by the Philippine National Climbing Team. So I joined with my strong teammates, Carlo and Leah. We joined the novice category and we won second place. It was a fun experience. I love climbing competitions and I'm thankful to my very strong teammates. So in April of 2019, I went to Monkey Wall in Montalban, Rizal. It was my first trip there. So Montalban, Rizal has a lot of crags where you can climb on. The highlight of this trip was that it was my first time to try outdoor lead climbing. Unfortunately, I was not able to finish the routes which I tried, but overall it was a great experience. In May of 2019, I went to London for 2 weeks. I made an entire vlog dedicated to my bouldering experience in the various gyms which I visited in the city. You may check the vlog in this channel. I put the link in the description down below. Apart from seeing those wonderful gyms in London, an amazing highlight of my trip was I got to meet Captain Cutlose or Louis Parkinson in person. I had a fun bouldering session with him at Vauxhall East, or I think it was Vauxhall West. So in September of 2019, the first bouldering-only gym in the Philippines opened for the first time. So this was the Bouldering Hive, or Beehive for short. So I was really excited for Beehive to open after seeing all the different gyms abroad. Beehive is definitely at par with the international gyms I've been to. So the holds, the setting, and the facilities are just excellent. Now, I really want to climb at Beehive again. I really miss you guys. So we actually have an episode about Beehive. You may see it at John's channel. I put the link in the description also. In November of 2019, I joined my first national climbing competition, which was also held at Beehive. Now, there were 3 categories: novice, intermediate, and open category. I joined the novice category and I was able to qualify for the finals. The event was really amazing, thanks to the organizers and route setters for those quality problems. It was also nice to watch the strongest climbers in the Philippines compete with each other at the open category. But even though it was a competition, the whole climbing community was very supportive to all the participants in the competition. You could feel the energy of the crowd, and I'm definitely looking forward to the days where we can hold climbing competitions again. January of 2020 was my first outdoor rock climbing trip to Uling Wall. So Uling Wall, like Monkey Wall, is another crag located in Montalban, Rizal. Now, I think every outdoor trip is really memorable for me because I rarely do it. Just like Monkey Wall, there are lots of routes to try at Uling Wall, but overall it was still a great experience. In February 2020, I went to Dortmund, Germany for 2 weeks. I also made an entire vlog about my bouldering experience at Dortmund, as well as other gyms which I visited in Germany. So I think the major highlight of this trip, I was able to try and finish 2 competition wall problems. So it was a milestone for me because when I was in London, I couldn't even start competition wall problems. Now the gyms at Dortmund were great. I was able to maximize my time in Germany, just meeting new climbers and buying climbing merchandise. So the link of my vlog in Dortmund is in the description below. Now March 2020, the pandemic broke out. My last climb at the gym was a few days before we had a lockdown. So because of the pandemic, I built my own climbing wall at home. I made 2 videos about building my climbing wall. The links are also in the description down below. I've been climbing for 3 years, but in my 3rd year, because of the pandemic, I just focused on climbing in my home wall. Now I'm really thankful for my home wall, but climbing in the gym with your friends is really different. So I miss the energy of the climbing community. I miss the way we support and encourage each other. Now, climbing has built my confidence in several ways. With a background of having no sport until my mid-20s, I am surprised with the way my body moves now and how I have gotten stronger compared to 3 years ago. Now I really have to thank my coach Puss for that aspect. Now I was also able to slowly overcome my fear of falling. I still have the fear of heights occasionally, and I think my reflexes and intuition improved because of the different problems I tried in the various gyms which I've been to. And most of all, I am thankful for developing new friendships in this sport. You know, just being in a community which supports one another. I look forward to the day where I can climb safely with my friends, maybe at the gym or outdoors. But for now, please stay safe in your respective homes. Now, if you'd like more climbing content like this, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next videos.